Que la que hay, Corillo?
Are you tired of sounding like this guy and getting a similar reaction?
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Espero que te encuentres muy bien. ¿Qué?
And to make matters worse, the conversation then follows something like this.
Yo dije que espero que te encuentres bien. ¿No me entiendes? ¿Por qué? Papi, no entiendo. ¿De qué tú estás hablando? Okay, so today what I have for you guys is 6 tips on how to improve your accent in Spanish. Before I even get into the video, I'll post my social media below. Make sure you go follow me on Twitter, on Snapchat, on Instagram. Not Snapchat, I don't think I'll post my Snapchat. But on Twitter and Instagram, follow me on there. If you have any questions, make sure you DM me or something. Leave a comment below. If you like the video, like it, comment, and share with your friends. So, tip number one. The very first tip I'm gonna give you guys is to make sure you know how to pronounce the vowels and the consonants correctly, because it doesn't make sense for you to be trying to improve your accent if you don't even know how to pronounce the vowels and accents. If you're still saying this word as taco when you speak in Spanish, you probably need to, learn how to pronounce the vowels and the consonants. Now, there are many ways to go about this. You can go the route I did, which is just listening to, immersing yourself in the language and just making sure you're specifically listening for the vowels and consonants. You can take a class on it, which I also did. Um, it can teach you stuff, but if you already have like your foundation and your methods, it probably won't be much help. But for sure, any level, listen to music, watching movies, stuff like that, watching interviews, all that stuff is gonna help you for sure, no doubt. It's very important, very, very, very important, because it can take you from sounding like an American, sounding like a gringo, to speaking maybe general Spanish. If you don't want to speak general Spanish, then you probably need to pick a country, which leads me into the second tip, which is pick a country. So, if you guys paid attention to my how I learned Spanish in either Spanish or in English, if you haven't seen it, I'll have the little boxes gonna pop up right here somewhere. There we go. So I have this app called HelloTalk. Yeah, I have everything. I talked about HelloTalk in both those videos. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. So in that group, I met a guy from New York, right? And I was asking him, how do I improve my accent? He told me pick a country and study that country. The first country I picked was actually Dominican Republic. So I studied the Dominican Republic. I studied how they spoke. I studied. I just put myself in like just an area where I could just speak with a lot of Dominicans. On Hello Talk, mostly what you'll find are Dominicans, Colombians, and people from Central America. You really won't find a lot of people from like Cuba, Puerto Rico, which is the bad thing. If you're studying from Puerto Rico, I know I am, you're gonna have to look elsewhere. Um, I know there are a couple movies out on the web. There's a couple movies on YouTube that you can watch. The best way to actually study if you're doing Puerto Rico is to listen to music, watch interviews, because Puerto Rico's hot right now for music. You got Bad Bunny coming out of there. You got Daddy Yankee, who isn't really new, but he's still from Puerto Rico. You got, let me see who else. You got a lot of people, Nicky Jam, pretty much everybody who you hear in reggaeton besides J Balvin and people like that. Most of them come from Puerto Rico, so that's a very good way to improve your accent. So I kind of blended step three. I kind of blended tip number three into the second one. Tip number three was study the material from a country. Just like I was saying, study the music, study whatever, talk to people on how to talk, and just do that, and eventually you'll just start picking up on it. If you live in a city that has a lot of Latinos from the country that you want to learn. For example, if I lived in Orlando, where there's a lot of Puerto Ricans, just talk to those people. Just practice it, which is step number 4. Put it into play. I guess that could be step number 5 too. Practice it, practice, practice. So you can go about this 2 ways. if, like I said, if you live in a place that has a lot of Latinos from the country you want to study from, for example, like I said, Puerto Rico, Orlando, Miami, a lot of Puerto Ricans live in South Florida. They live in South Florida, Chicago, New York, Pennsylvania, areas like that. So if I went over there, if I lived over there, I don't live over there, obviously. But if I did, I could talk to them, you know, just kind of copy their accent. I have one Puerto Rican friend in real life, and I have one that I met on HelloTalk that I'm talking to right now. So I kind of try to mimic their accent and mimic their mannerisms when they're speaking. So that has definitely helped me a lot. Between that and watching movies, listening to music, things like that, I'm really starting to, get there. I know I did the same thing when I was studying from the Dominican Republic, and eventually I got to the point where I was confusing some Dominicans, and they were thinking that I was Dominican, and I'm not. And now I'm at the point in my Puerto Rican studies where some Puerto Ricans think I'm Puerto Rican, but others they can catch me. But even those who catch me still say that I kind of sound Puerto Rican. So, oh, I forgot to mention, you can also talk to yourself. Now that sounds very crazy, I know, but it's not. It's not. It's not what you think. It's not as crazy as it sounds. It's not like those people that side of the street, like drug addicts who like have full on like conversations with imaginary friends or whatever. It is more like, I don't know about y'all, but I find myself talking, just like kind of talking out loud. Like for example, I just lost my keys or something. Like, where are my keys? I can't find my keys. Blah blah blah. Instead of saying that in English, say it in Spanish, which is another great way to practice. Um, that's really just a good Spanish tip overall. Really language tip. Let's say it's a good language learning tip. You just speak the language instead of your native language. Which leads me into tip number 6. Six. Can't do 6 with one hand. So tip number 6 is to not compare yourself with others. What do I mean by this? It's kind of self-explanatory, but in case you didn't get it, don't compare yourself with others means other people might catch on quicker than others because we're all different people. We all have different mindsets. We all pick up on things. We might pick up on things quicker than others. We might not. It just depends on how your mind is set up. I know for a fact I have a language mind, so I pick up on stuff a lot faster than everybody else, which is how I was able to make that transition from Dominican Republic to Puerto Rico so quickly. Is because I have a language mind. When I'm studying Chinese right now, and my Chinese teacher was like, "Whoa, you're picking up on this stuff quickly." And part of the reason is because I study a lot, but it's also because, like I said in the other video about how and where I learned Spanish, languages have been part of my life since I can remember. So it's kind of how I was raised. So, but don't get down on yourself if you see someone else who's learned Spanish for like 2 years and they already have, a near native accent, because you can get it too. It just probably won't come as quick. It might come quicker. Who knows? I met someone from Costa Rica yesterday, and she said she's been learning for like 1 year, and she sounds like pretty much like I do when I'm speaking English. I also know people who have been learning for over 30 years that live in the United States who don't speak any English at all. Granted, those people probably aren't trying, but still. Another good tip is you really can't, it's not really a tip, but another good thing to mention is you really can't judge people. Well, you really can't compare yourself to some people because they might have, done study abroad over someplace. And it just happened to be in their first year of study. So it's just a lot of factors. Just don't compare yourself. That's all I can really say on that. And that, my friends, is all I have for you. If I come up with any more tips, I write them down, and I might make another video. Who knows? If you guys want to see more of that, just let me know. And I also have 2 guests right here. Wanted to say hi. Joe. 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 You're not Jewel. Who are you? You're Bailey. Jewel. 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 She hates me, but I love her. So, my people, that is all I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned something, make sure you like and subscribe, comment. It really helps me out. It really does, honestly. Um, like I said at the beginning of the video, make sure you follow me on my social media. If you have any questions, DM me, leave a comment, share the video. And a big shout out to the people of lovely Spanglish, lovely Spanglish, lovely Spanish, English, whatever the group is now. I don't know. It gets changed like every day. Shout out to my bro Noel. Shout out to La Abuelita Amy. I see y'all. And we're out. Chequeamos.